communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
As we head towards colder weather, it's important to make sure you're up to date on vaccinations and protected from COVID-19. The Native American Community Clinic is now administering the updated Pfizer bivalent booster. The updated bivalent booster helps protect against the original COVID-19 strain and against newer Omicron variants. And it will help restore protection that has decreased since previous vaccinations. People age 5 and older are now recommended to get an updated bivalent booster dose at least 2 months after their last COVID-19 shot. That means the bivalent booster may be given after a person's primary series or after their last booster shot, regardless of what brand you received before. Even if you've already had COVID-19, you should get vaccinated. Right now, at the Native American Community Clinic, you can get COVID-19 vaccines, including updated boosters, at the same visit as other vaccines. However, if you've received a recent monkeypox vaccine, you may need to wait 4 weeks before you can get a COVID-19 vaccine, and you should discuss this with your provider. Schedule your vaccination appointment with the Native American Community Clinic by calling 612-872-8086.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 6, Friday partly sunny with a high near 19, and Saturday sunny with a high around 20. Check out the award-winning Hazel's Northeast for a delicious meal any time of the day. Breakfast favorites include the meat waffle, hippie cakes, and chicken fried steak and eggs, while for dinner try selections like the meatloaf and mushroom ravioli. Hazel's Northeast is located off 29th and Johnson or at hazelsnetogo.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Ogama, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
And this portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Wow, it sounds like we got a little weirdness coming from the audio there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is it gone now?
Not from your end, it's from the mothership, because the bumper music sounded weird too.
All right. Well, hopefully that will.
You sound good now.
Oh, okay. Hopefully that will resolve.
Maybe the Martians are gone from Eden Prairie, which is where the big stick is for AM 950.
Or a solar flare.
Yeah. Hey, well, we have news that you don't hear anywhere else, so why don't we get going right with Ogama with the news that you don't hear anywhere else. Hoa.
Hey, sure thing. Bonjour, relatives. This is Ogama Ganuakwe. I am a citizen of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota. I reside in central Minnesota, and I have some news for you today. I want to make everybody aware, and we're going to have a guest on later who's talking about this, but the Rally for the Rivers Reunion Justice for Nebe event is happening on Monday, and you'll be able to catch that event live online with Native Roots Radio on Monday from 12 noon Central Time until it ends. I think, Robert, right? We're not really putting a time limit on something this important, right?
Right, exactly, and, we'll have a tight hour, and then if it goes longer, it goes longer, and you'll take over. Ho!
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what the baby has to say about that. But
The baby will
so
take over then.
yeah, the baby will take over. She would too. So for those of you who don't know what the Rally for the Rivers is, it is the anniversary of one of the largest Stop Line 3 actions that happened in Aiken County, Minnesota in January of 2021. And it's a virtual rally that's going to be broadcast right here on Native Roots Radio. On social media, you'll be able to hear from legal representatives and defendants facing charges related to Line 3, from citizen science monitors who are documenting ongoing damage to waters, including rivers and aquifers, as well as Winona LaDuke and other water protectors who are going to be giving some more of the history again, and talking about the water protectors who were arrested and charged for exercising their treaty protected rights and peacefully demonstrating for clean water and climate justice and Indigenous rights. So really looking forward to that event. Again, that's Monday, January 9th at 12 p.m. Central here on Native Roots Radio on social media. And then we'll be having some clips of that for our evening program as well on Monday. So stay tuned for that.
Wow, that's cool, and, we're gonna have Gina on tonight too.
Yes, exactly. Gina's going to be on, and she's going to be giving us a little bit more details and talking about how important this all is as well. So, another little bit of local news here in Minnesota that I want to talk about is the White Earth Tribal and Community College is having certificate programs March and April of 2023. They have programs available for child development associate, certified nursing assistant, emergency medical technicians, solar photovoltaic course and internship, excuse me, and then a special boiler operator license course. And I believe we'll have somebody on from White Earth Nation Tribal College next week to talk about those programs. I don't believe you have to be a member of the White Earth Nation to enroll in those programs. So definitely reach out, go check out the White Earth Tribal and Community College online, and you can check out the course descriptions and availability options as well. So that's really exciting. I'm really glad to see those programs come up for our relatives who are, maybe needing a career option. Robert, did you hear about activist and water protector Tara Hauska buying Rainy Lakes Bald Point in Minnesota?
Yeah, I really wanna buddy up to Tara, that looks like a beautiful area up there, and, send her some good wishes. I sent her a Happy New Year text, and she responded a couple weeks later, and, I think that'll happen. I think we're pretty tight.
Yeah, I think so. So Bring Me the News said that Tara's still in shock, and that this property, which has over 2,500 feet of shoreline, is going to mean a lot to their community, their tribe, neighboring tribes, and Native people in general. She's hoping to have the space open as a place for people to come and do traditional Native activities like wild rice harvesting and other community options, as well as a place where her and her family will reside. So just big congratulations. And again, please invite us up to the North Country, Tara. We would love to come visit. The pictures of it look absolutely gorgeous. So pretty
Exactly.
excited about that. For those of you who are in recovery, the 20th annual Wild Rice Roundup is January 6th through 8th at the Shooting Star Hotel and Event Center. Contact information is available on Sober Squad's website. You can follow calling cash, or you can look for the Wild Rice Roundup information within the recovery community. If you don't have information for any of those things, you can contact Fred at 218-849-1357 or Pam at 612-250-1171. You can register by mail or in person. There's a $35 registration fee, and there is a banquet fee for $15. So the total registration banquet fee is going to be $50. So keep that in mind. They also have hotel reservations available at Shooting Star in Monoman for $85 plus tax. Block numbers 13603. So those of you who are in the recovery, hit up that Wild Rice Roundup. I hear about it every year, and it's an awesome event. People have a really great time there. Robert, I know we talked about a pretendian or somebody who was exploiting Native people with a pretend identity earlier this week over in Madison, Wisconsin. But I wanted to kind of touch base on that again just a little and remind people that there's plenty of great Native-made content that's available. And that Res Dogs was named the #1 show of the year by Adweek, The Hollywood Reporter, New York Times, The Prime Timer, Rolling Stone, Slash Film, Variety, and Vulture, according to Sterling Harjo. He dropped the graphic on his Instagram earlier this week, and I can't even believe it. #1 in Rolling Stone, #1 in New York Times, #1 show of the year for Native people. And there's this really great article that I seen that has a list of 10 films by Indigenous filmmakers that you can watch instead of Avatar: The Way of the Water. James Cameron, director of Avatar: Way of the Water, recently made some really insensitive and kind of racist remarks towards Indigenous people. But there are 10 movies that you can see. #1 of those is Wild Indian. Next one is Night Raiders. Next one after that is Rhymes for Young Ghouls, which I have seen. That is one I've seen. And also Prey, Robert. I know you've seen that one. Blood Quantum is another one I've been meaning to watch. It's by the same director of Rhymes for Young Ghouls. The Rocket Boy, Drunk Town's Finest, Mekko, that's Mekko, which is a Sterling Harjo directed film. Waikiki, which covers the world of Native Hawaii. And then another one, Parallel Minds, which has a Métis director, and it's the only one on this list from CBR.com that doesn't actually have like a Native theme. It happens to be a Native director, but it's a sci-fi film by a Native director, not about the Native experience, which is also exciting to see as well. So if you're interested in seeing Way of the Water, please find a way to purchase and watch Native directed films instead. And congratulations to Canada. Yesterday was the first ever National Ribbon Skirt Day in Canada. So congratulations to everybody up north in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Hey, up next, we're going to have Gina Peltier with Honor the Earth talking about this coming up event. And you're listening to Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break. Thank you.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Take care of your community by joining Metro Transit's Adopt a Stop program. Show your community pride by adopting a transit stop. Join us in helping keep the stop and your neighborhood beautiful and report any maintenance needs to us. We'll put a sign at the stop recognizing your efforts, plus you'll get 10 free rides every month. Get details at metrotransit.org/adopt. That's metrotransit.org/adopt.
Health insurance that fits my budget? I'm covered. I needed health coverage I could count on and afford. MNsure helped me find a plan that works for me, and they helped me save money. Did you know that most Minnesotans qualify for savings through MNsure? And they have free experts who can help you sign up for coverage. Go to mnsure.org today and get started and get covered. That's mnsure.org. mnsure.org.
Bijou. I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Hey, this portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Well, this is crazy having Gina on. Gina was stepped in for Ogama, so I'm like having a, I don't know what's going on. Is Gina with the news, Ogama with the news? But again, Gina, thanks for coming on, and thanks for sitting in for those months that Ogama was nursing her baby.
Yeah, guys, it was a pleasure to be able to help, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm grateful to be here and to be able to talk about the good work that we got going on in the virtual rally that we have going on Monday.
Yeah, we're excited too. Really great. Always good to support Honor the Earth and Winona and yourself and all the great work that's been going on with Winona LaDuke for many, many years. And so tell our audience what we have to look forward to and what and I know Ogama has been talking about it for the last few days. The reason behind this.
So on Monday, January 9th, we're going to have a Stop Line 3 virtual rally for the Rivers reunion, Justice for the Nibi. It's the second anniversary of the January 9th, 2021 Rally for the Rivers, where a jingle dress dance water healing ceremony was interrupted by law enforcement, ending in multiple arrests. So this is a virtual event. We will be going live on Monday, January 9th at noon. And then you guys will have clips on your show that night. So thank you guys so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, and it's great too, just to let our audience know it will be preempted. It'll be live, and then we'll edit it up and throw it on the show that night because it's going to be some great and important and powerful messaging that day.
Yeah, we'll have Winona LaDuke, love her, love all of her work, and we'll have other water protectors who will be talking about the 2-year anniversary of one of the largest Stop Line 3 actions that happened in Aiken County, Minnesota. Sorry, guys. We will hear from legal representatives and then defendants facing Line 3 and their related charges. And we will also hear from citizen science monitors from the Wadukawad, Amikawad, who are documenting the ongoing damage to the rivers and the aquifers and the land that Enbridge caused. So on January 9th, 2021, 2 years ago, water protectors gathered at the Mississippi River in Aiken County for a jingle dress dance and healing ceremony. And then many went to a site where they witnessed the destruction of the trees to make a path for more pipe. They witnessed the negligence of the fast-tracked construction. There were large cracks that had developed in the pipes from sitting outside for so long. And then you saw how they were poorly patched up, so that brought a lot of concern. So a large group of water protectors gathered along the road to beg for an end to this illegal occupation and the decimation of our land and treaty territory. You know, it's very traumatizing to see destruction like that. But at the end of the day, 7 people were arrested and held for 3 days in the Aiken County Jail. The charges included both misdemeanors and gross misdemeanors, and 6 others received charges by mail based on Facebook surveillance. How crazy is that?
Oh my God.
So far, though, only one of those charges from that day has been resolved. A judge tossed out the case mid-trial when it was clear that the Aiken County Sheriff's Department did not have enough evidence to pursue a conviction. So we will hear from Winona LeDuc, who was arrested that day. And then others were charged with aiding and abetting. And then we'll hear from attorneys who will give us an update on the legal situation and the ongoing work to drop the charges against water protectors, and how we are still trying to hold Enbridge accountable for the crimes against the water and the rice, the manumin, the wild rice, the climate and Indigenous rights. We'll get an overview of how many cases are left. We went from over 1,000 charges, and we're now down to about 100 charges, 100 cases. We'll hear about the treaty defenses that have been presented and that have been ignored. There are at least 4 felonies remaining in Aiken County. We'll get an update on drop the charges. Next week, there is a jury trial hearing in Aiken County. Brave Water Protector Scott Bull will be in courts Wednesday, the 10th, the 11th, and 12th. And, I so greatly appreciate that there is continued support for those that are still facing charges, whether it's help finding an attorney, paying for fees, housing or lodging for in-person cases, for the charges that they required, or holding support court events. So we will be having a court support event for Scott next week. And for details on that, you can always check out Honor the Earth's Facebook page, social media, honorearth.org/events. It's great. It's really nice. It's really easing for the defendants when so many people show up to support. And I think it's so interesting of what happens in these court hearings. And I've talked about that on the show before, but Winona has cases set for February. We'll hear about how we have to still collectively demand status updates from them. And we'll hear about how Minnesota Aiken County Sheriff's Department is the most egregious county. They were a part. Are you trying to say something, Ogama?
No, I just let out a great big sigh about the egregious actions of Aiken County. I
thought she was driving a car there.
I was saying for support for water protectors to help them help driving them to their court cases.
Sometimes we forget this is a radio show. No, I just got to say, it's really exciting to have you back on. And I know we need updates, because I know 2 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long. And 2, there's been some damage up there that really, really needs to be talked about and reported.
Yeah. And that's it too with this whole rally. We will get to hear from Don Goodwin and Jeff Broberg, who are citizen scientists with Wadukawad Amigawad. They will give us updates on Enbridge's crimes against war, the monitoring that Wadukawad Amigawag is doing on the whole Line 3 and on the multiple aquifer breaches and the multiple frac outs that Enbridge has caused with the construction of Line 3, and an update on the accountability work. It's quite scary. It's scary getting arrested, or even the thought of getting arrested. But what's even scarier? Having no clean drinking water.
Right. I thought you were going to say being shocked like you got tased in D.C.
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
When I flew back just a couple days before you got tased.
Yeah. It's quite crazy, because we are all unarmed, nonviolent water protectors. We're trying to bring awareness to what's going on with Line 3. And it's really, really sad that law enforcement and the U.S. government has used such force against us. I mean, we're taking a stand for everyone's water. Line 3 is going through nearly half of North America's fresh water. It's going through 22 river crossings and 200 bodies of water. It's the last of Canada's oil that's flowing through Line 3. And all that oil that's going through Line 3 is going straight to China. So China can make plastics out of it. And anything that's made out of plastic can be made out of hemp. So it's just, it's not beneficial at all. And it's especially scary too, because With it going through nearly half of North America's freshwater, water became a commodity on Wall Street in December of 2020. Around the same time, Minnesota Governor Walz approved of the permits. So with it being the last of Canada's oil, I feel like they're just looking for another way to make money, and why not make money off the scarcity of water? And with seeing the damage firsthand, we drank water out of the Mississippi River. I drank water out of the Mississippi River for 8 days straight when we had Camp Firelight, and none of us got sick. And then shortly after that, Enbridge fracked out into the Mississippi River. Our fish developed blisters and they died. Our children can no longer swim in that area. You don't want to swim in that area. This summer, there were no dragonflies in that area. There were no frogs jumping around like there were the previous year. So it's crazy to see firsthand the destruction they caused, but it gives a good reason on why someone would want to take such a risk on getting arrested, such a risk on getting brutalized, such a risk on getting tased or maced or shot with rubber bullets. I even witnessed my sisters getting drugged out of ceremony and brutally arrested. They were sitting there peacefully trying to pray for everyone's clean water. The lengths that they will take to let this pipeline go through is sad. So we also will have some call to actions. With Line 3, we're calling on the EPA to investigate Enbridge's ongoing damage. With Line 5, we're asking the White House to decommission Enbridge's Line 5 because they want to do more damage. Follow Wadukawad Amikwad on YouTube. Ask the Attorney General Ellison to investigate Aiken County to become special prosecutor on the remaining water protector charges. And you guys keep active, keep showing up, keep holding the banks who fund fossil fuels accountable, keep calling your politicians. I'm grateful we're keeping up the fight. It gives me a lot of hope. And I'll drop some links in the Facebook chat that will direct to the events and some other good stuff like that. You guys, thanks for having me on.
Well, Gina, thank you so much. Just like old times, Peeny Gigi, maybe we'll talk to you tomorrow too and have another quick update. So I think that sounds good. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Health insurance that fits my budget? I'm covered. I needed health coverage I could count on and afford. MNsure helped me find a plan that works for me, and they helped me save money. Did you know that most Minnesotans qualify for savings through MNsure? And they have free experts who can help you sign up for coverage. Go to mnsure.org today and get started and get covered. That's mnsure.org. mnsure.org.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, troublemaker, and host of the Bradcast. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T. family of companies. Our new Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care is a bold reimagining of what assisted living can be. Our emphasis is on creative meals, outdoor walking paths, and a spectrum of restorative therapies and activities. We are founded on a history of care. We are dedicated to enriching lives. Learn more about Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care by visiting marytinc.com.
Thanks to everyone who supported AM 950 for the last 3 years. Good news, the AM 950 2023 calendar is ready to go, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. If you sign up to become a member with a one-time $50 membership or recurring monthly membership of $10, you'll receive a 2023 AM 950 calendar as a thank you gift. Go to am950radio.com to become a member and receive a calendar. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Kelly Tanky.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Tune in to AM 950's newest show, Searching for Service, a show designed to help current and future Rotarians find purpose through service.
We are dedicated to sharing stories, experiences, and opportunities for those searching for purpose, value, and meaning.
But more importantly, connection through community. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcasts.
It's time to stop searching and start serving.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about outdoor fires. Sitting around a fire is the oldest, most basic form of human activity.
What's new is in the way fire is burned. We can show you how to burn cleaner with a lot less smoke.
The radiant heat and light from an open fire is unmatched. It kindles our spirits and connects us to the outdoors. And now it's easier to experience and enjoy.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs wood and gas burning fire pits and fireplaces. Let us help you experience an outdoor fire without all the smoke.
Come see the many ways you can enjoy a fire outdoors.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 6. Friday, partly sunny with a high near 19. And Saturday, sunny with a high around 20. Check out the award-winning Hazel's Northeast for a delicious meal any time of the day. Breakfast favorites include the meat waffle, hippie cakes, and chicken fried steak and eggs, while for dinner, try selections like the meatloaf and mushroom ravioli. Hazel's Northeast is located off 29th and Johnson, or at hazelsnetogo.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Hey, everybody, if you're still looking for health insurance and you're not sure where to go, make sure to head over to mnsure.org. They have free help to help you find a plan that is affordable to you and fits your budget. Most Minnesotans qualify for help through mnsure. So again, go to mnsure.org before it's too late. Open enrollment closes January 15th.
Wow, thanks, Ogama. Hey, we are here with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. We like to call it NADKI here. And I think they like to call it NADKI everywhere, but we are here, and I don't know, Robert, I know you got a few things you'd like to talk about, but I was at the round dance at the Capitol, and now things are cooking. We're talking about, some things like, legalizing recreational marijuana, to codify abortion access as a state law, and, just other things that are moving and grooving here already in Minnesota. But before we get to that, the third long day of GOP House Speaker fight. My goodness.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert. Bonjour, Ogama. So nice to see you tonight. And I missed the round dance. I had every intention to be there, and then a couple work things came up, and it bungled my schedule. But I enjoyed following your social media posts and everybody else's. It just looked like a super cool event.
When they go a little faster for an old guy, your hip starts to hurt in those round dances. So I had to fake it a little bit, but
it was great to hear the drums and everything. And last session, we were at an event where we were bringing the urban orgs together with reservation government and just kind of doing popularizing our agenda and things. And we were prohibited from having drums in the rotunda due to some recent kind of rules put in place where music couldn't be in the rotunda. So it was really thrilling, or not thrilling, satisfying, I guess, to see y'all round dancing with drums and songs in the rotunda on Tuesday.
Yeah. Geez. Yeah. I don't know how to respond to that, but yeah, it was great. So again, let's maybe talk a little nationally here about
yeah,
the mess of the GOP, and then we'll get into the great things that will be happening here with our friends in the legislature.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know about you, but I've been glued to the television watching these votes in the state in Congress for Speaker, and just reading as much analysis as I can and into the nuances of what's happening and what some potential outcomes might be. And I gotta say, I've been enjoying every second of it.
Yeah, we can't have Democrats join in. Let these guys just flail away here and do their thing. And the funny thing is, he could have got rid of those people that are against him a couple of years ago when all heck was breaking loose at the January 6th, and he's made his own made his own bed in one way.
For sure. And so for maybe some folks who aren't quite the political junkies you and I are, we're talking about the vote in Congress for a Speaker of the House. Of course, the Republicans hold a small 10 seat majority right now. And the first order of business they need to do is elect a Speaker. And they can't go on to anything else until that's done. They can't even swear their members in. So right now they're all members elect. They're not even actual members of Congress. And they just completed, or I don't know if the voting's closed yet, but it's all in their 11th ballot for Speaker. And Kevin McCarthy, the presumptive heir to the office, cannot get to 218 votes. And there are about 20. Well, now it is 20. It's gone from 19 to 21 to 20 holdout votes in the Republican conference who will not vote for him. And so they just keep going through these votes. It's always 202 McCarthy, 20 somebody else, some other Republican, and then 212 for the Democratic leader, the new Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries. So Jeffries has been the highest vote getter on all 11 ballots, which I think is hilarious. And has done really wonderful things for him, right? And a young, new party leader, caucus leader. It's brought him so much more profile and I think respect. And it's just been great to see the Democratic conference hold. They have held every ballot. It's been 212 every ballot for Jeffries. And I think, for a new leader, it's kind of accelerating his profile, maybe his influence, his respect a little more quickly. So that's another good outcome of this Republican dysfunction in Congress.
Yeah. So enough of that. The last thing I'll say is I was watching the news before we came on, and that slime ball. Can I say that on the radio? He
It's
voted
your
for.
show. Say it.
Yeah, he voted for Trump, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
Is that McCarthy you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the guy from Florida. What's his name? Shoot, give me a second here. He's a younger guy from Florida. He voted for.
Donald, yeah. Yeah, well, and I mean, it's just so fascinating what's going on within that conference. The 20 holdouts, they call themselves the rebels. The 20 Republican holdouts were all big Trump supporters. Trump supported them. They're all big election deniers, as is Kevin McCarthy, the person who's trying to lead the House, the Speaker. He voted against ratifying the election results, So
Right.
and he had the chance, like you said, in January 6th or after the 2020 elections, he had the chance to contain this opposition, and he didn't. He dived full force into it. He went to Mar-a-Lago, kissed Trump's ring, and now all of this is coming back to bite him in the butt. And if 2
Yeah.
years ago he would have stood up to these rebels, as they call themselves, contain them like they should be contained, he wouldn't be in the position he's in now. And it's so interesting. He went out, raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for these 20 people who are opposing him, which I think is hilarious, and embraced Trumpism, MAGAism, all of that, when he should have been working to contain it and minimize its impact. And now there are so many of these people who are in the opposition, the rebels as they call themselves, challenged more moderate Republicans in primaries and won, or they kind of scared off the Republicans to not run again. And now I bet people are regretting that decision when they're seeing how easily contained that whole dynamic is, that whole MAGA piece and that whole Trump piece. And in my heart of hearts, I hope this kind of means the end of Trump's influence in the Republican Party. They're showing the world many things that they can't govern, and they're
Right.
not going to be able to govern for the next 2 years. But also that this whole Trump and MAGA piece is really is just noise, and and hopefully it'll get quieter and quieter.
It was Matt Gaetz who voted for Trump. I couldn't
Oh
think.
yeah, right, right. And Trump supposedly is trying to rally Republicans around McCarthy's speakership, but he's really lukewarm about it, and
Right.
not really working it. And so so it's just a lot of people who are not being very loyal to each other, to the party, certainly not loyal to the Constitution or to the institution. So
There's
so I
a
think
few
I have
days.
watched every ballot of 11.
Well, it was a few days ago. Santos didn't know his own name. They were calling his name, and he didn't know.
Right.
It was like he's going to help Twitter to work with the figure to vet out lying because he's so good at
Right.
it.
Right, so that's George Santos, right? The
Yeah.
congressman-elect from New York's third, who completely fabricated his entire identity, his history. He's just told a pack of lies. Oh, I just read another little update recently about him. He's getting evicted from his second apartment in Queens that he's been evicted from. So, this guy's just a piece of work. He lied about everything, and people still elected him to Congress,
And he's
so
still
yeah,
getting
it's
support. He's still getting
yeah,
support from the MAGAs and so stay
yeah,
tuned. I think there's
yeah.
some things coming up his way, but it's just
Mm.
interesting. I just have to say this. I was never a fan of Bush, either Bush. And I just saw a video 9 years ago with George too and Clinton together, and how they talked about how they worked together on things, how they called each other about stuff because out of the good of the country. And 9 years
Right.
doesn't seem that long ago, but it sure does in a lot of other ways, though.
Doesn't it? It seems like a whole different day. I mean, I'm kind of in the same camp with Bush. I wasn't a big fan of either of them, but it almost seems like halcyon days now. At least government could function, and now they can't. I mean, look what's happening. We don't even have a functioning federal government. Um, we'll see what comes out. I mean, you see things like President Biden and Mitch McConnell. They've been doing they did a big goodwill thing, went together in Kentucky and spoke in bipartisan support of the infrastructure bill in front of a bridge that's going to be repaired because of the infrastructure bill. So at least they're kind of showing us that things can happen in a bipartisan fashion. And then you have what's going on in the House, and it's just a joke. And I don't blame the Democrats. I mean, we'll see where it ends up. I suspect that there will need to be some kind of middle coalition, or there may be some kind of middle coalition that comes together across the aisle just to elect a speaker, which can then build a framework for a coalition government and bipartisan work. But this could go on forever.
Right.
Where they're on the 11th ballot. This is only the 14th time in our country's history that a speaker vote has gone into multiple ballots. Of those 14 times, 13 of them were Civil War, pre-Civil War times. One of them was 100 years ago. So this is it's only the 14th. So this is the 15th time. So we're in uncharted territory here. This could go on for weeks, months, and the government's funded. It's really their own kind of nest they're messing in with these votes. So this could be a while. So we'll see what
Hey,
happens.
yeah, let's take a quick break here and talk about the Avenue and what's going on locally. And yeah. Oh, well, hopefully, Pelosi was saying that these people need to get sworn in too. So there's a way around that where you don't need a speaker, and they need to get on that because there's families there waiting and to see their family being sworn in, and this can't be going on much longer. But I'm here with Robert Lilligren, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Take care of your community by joining Metro Transit's Adopt a Stop program. Show your community pride by adopting a transit stop. Join us in helping keep the stop and your neighborhood beautiful and report any maintenance needs to us. We'll put a sign at the stop recognizing your efforts, plus you'll get 10 free rides every month. Get details at metrotransit.org/adopt. That's metrotransit.org/adopt.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff. This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves. Please join Howling for Wolves on Wolf Day, Tuesday, February 7th, 2023 at the Minnesota State Capitol. You can sign up on Howling for Wolves event page. Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Hey, like Wendy said, this portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren and Ogama, and we had Gina on earlier with Honor the Earth, talking about our big show Monday and what's going to go down. And I just got to give you guys a quick update. Was in meetings all day today, and you know how it is in the cities here, Robert, where the plows like to plow you in, and we have alley parking, and they plowed us in, and Wendy shoveled us all out. So
wow,
my
impressive.
wife went out there and did it up. So I just got to give her a quick shout out on that.
Good for Wendy. She can come over and shovel us out too if she likes. We had over a foot of snow here. We have a snow emergency, and today was our turn to get plowed. And miraculously, all the cars moved off our street, which never happens. And then the plows never came. So that was a wasted opportunity.
Well, I don't even.
So I respect Wendy. It was heavy, wet snow.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the second time we did that. But unbelievable weather here. Our friends in Wisconsin have not gotten it as bad as we have. But I do know Black River Falls today, they got a lot of snow and they were closed down, where the home office of Ho Chunk is a couple hours away south of us. But so weather. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening on the avenue and how excited we are to have a trifecta and all the good things that are going to come about that.
Right. Yeah, it's very exciting. So for folks out of state, we have the trifecta here. We are governor, our state senate, and our state house are all under Democratic control, DFL control, as we say here, Democratic Farmer Labor control, and we have $16.7 billion surplus on our state budget, and so tons of opportunity here, and we have a historic high, or we have a high number of Native folks serving in the legislature, and just all kinds of opportunities. And so one of the things I've been involved with this week and leading up to this start of this session is an effort that's called the Urban Indian Legacy Initiative, UILI or ULI, we call it. And it's been spearheaded by the leadership of Dr. Joe Hobart at the American Indian OIC, but it's about close to 20 now Native orgs who are working collaboratively and to support each other to capitalize building projects. We have these aging buildings, inadequate buildings. Everybody needs an infusion of capital dollars. And so for the last several years, we've been working collaboratively to get these projects funded. And now with the new trifecta at the Capitol and the surplus, we feel like it's time for a very large infusion of capital dollars from the state into our urban Indian organizations. And so we've been strategizing heavily. We met this week again to strategize with our lobbyists, and we're going in full force.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Dr. Joe Hobart, what an excellent person to be doing that.
Agree.
Big shout out to him. He was at the round dance too.
Great. Yeah, I figured he would be. And then we had a strategy meeting this week, and there was some disagreement. We're different people, different generations, different tribes, different organizations, different missions, and so we were in a meeting that got a little, heated, which is fine, and we found a way to resolve things in a mutually supportive way to continue going forward, shoulder to shoulder, and one of a younger organization lead, that we kind of were interrupting each other a little in disrespectful ways. And she sent a beautiful email to me today apologizing for doing that, and I said, hey, I respect your passion, I respect your positions, I was happy with the outcome, but I did say, I've always said there is no movement without friction.
Yeah.
So it just for me indicates real strength in our community when organizational leadership, urban Indian organizational leadership, we can get together, we can disagree, we can even get a little heated, but then we emerge united. And I think that it bodes well for the community and for our future.
Well, that old saying, people who stand for nothing will fall for anything. So I always appreciate a good heated argument, and I can definitely personally have my mind changed. And I think that's how we need to go in with each other's strengths and stories.
Up here. I'm right there with you, Robert. And there's some things that you can't compromise on, right? Some principles or values, but pretty much everything. And it's like I can be convinced, or we can, find agreement or find a way of going forward without agreement. It seems like so much of my work or so much of our work in the Native community are in such low trust environments, right? Who trusts the government? Who trusts, the schools? Who trust, And so to figure out how to actually make progress in a low trust environment, that's something that I relish doing.
That's a interesting way. I don't know if I've ever heard you put it that way. That's really interesting. And can you say that again about the low trust environment?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just a little background. So often people feel like, oh, we have to establish trust. We have to establish trust. And I've just found the reality is there's some frameworks that we live within, especially as a colonized people and as a people who kind of had genocide practice against us, where there just isn't going to be trust. And so I realized that if we spent all of our time trying to build trust, we weren't going to make progress because we weren't going to build trust. And so then I had to figure out how to go forward in low trust environments. And so that's something, I don't know if it's my specialty or a superpower or whatever, but it's something that I really find personally rewarding, figuring out how to make progress in low trust environments, how to, if you want to use negotiating in terms of how to get to yes, in a low trust environment, and it can be done.
Well, it's a thing that you and I talked about when I ran for legislator of Ho Chunk Nation, is that in a different way of putting that is meeting people where they're at. And I think as a high
Sure.
school teacher, you have to do that, but
Mm.
also in the real world. And you have to remind yourself, at least I do, that that's what I'm doing and that's a good thing.
Right, right. I had this really interesting conversation with some of my in-laws over the holidays, and they're Florida Republicans. They're not hardcore Trumpers, but they're Florida Republicans. So we were talking about government, and you'll appreciate this, I think, now that you're an elected official. And then they're saying, "Oh, all politicians lie." It's like, really? I never did. In 12 years of elected life, I never told a single lie. Oh,
Right.
all politicians cheat. It's like, really? I never did.
Mm.
And I've come to this understanding, I think, Robert, that this is government by the people, right? So the government is us. And I feel like people gauge elected officials, government officials, by their own sort of selves and standards, and I think a lot of people would not trust themselves with that kind of authority and power, and would be afraid, at least since they haven't been in a position, that that's how they would behave. They would
Wow.
behave in some kind of a dishonest, distrustful way, and I think that's it. I mean, I didn't find it that hard. I'm guessing you don't find it that hard to not lie, to not cheat, to not be corrupt. It's actually kind of easy. So
Well,
I
what I have
don't.
found, what I found, Robert, for me is that if they've heard hearsay and lies, I'll correct them in a nice, loving way, and they'll back down.
Right.
Which has
It,
been
yeah,
really interesting to see because it's
right.
like, well,
Yeah, I
I
think I
heard.
shared that with you once. Yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
my experience was if I could stand in front of my constituents and explain my position or my vote or something, they might not be happy, but they'd accept it. They'd accept it.
we're out tonight. Thanks, Robert Lilligren.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. Always a pleasure.
Hi, this is Kirk Duckwall with the Twin Cities Real Estate Show here on AM 950. As our market changes,